Alright guys, welcome back to Rome Reviews. I'm Rome, and today we have the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max. To be transparent, I've had this phone for about a week now, and I've just been working through, just doing like a quick review and my thoughts on it, my initial thoughts on it and everything. And I'm trying to work on not just jumping on camera as soon as I get the device, because I want to spend some time with it to give you like true initial impressions, because I feel like you need to have a phone for a little while before you can give like real thoughts on it. So anyway, here we are, Xiaomi 17 Pro Max. They changed the name, they skipped a generation just to match the iPhone. We all are aware, especially if you're watching my video, because you most likely watched a few by now. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and jump over to the overhead camera, and we're going to unbox this bad boy. Let's zoom out a little bit so we get that long box in here. Goodness gracious. Alright, so let's go ahead and slide this top cover off. And this is a different unboxing experience, just in the aspect that the box is taller rather than just square shaped like most carriers do. But anyway, down here we have the charger and cable, and they send you a 100-watt charger in the box, which is, I love it. Every time, I have a lot of chargers now because I have a lot of phones, but I always enjoy opening a box that has more than just the phone in it. And I think that really that'll really be nice for the average consumer, that they get a nice large charger with their phone to be able to charge those speeds that they say in the specs, so instead of having to go out and buy one, and you just spent over $1,000 on this phone, then you have to go spend some more money on a charging brick. That's crazy to me. I just don't understand that. But anyway, I'm not going to go on a rant. Let's go ahead and continue. So we get that and that, and we're going to go jump over here to the top, and on the top you see the phone right there. Anyway, let's jump in here, and you get the case that they send you. So what I did was I went back and boxed everything back up, because of course I said in the beginning of the video that I have been using the phone for a while, which means that I've taken all this out before. But anyway, you get this clear. Sounds like a hard plastic case. Actually nice. I really like it. And I got something that I discovered about this case that I noticed, and it made me curious, and now I understand why they designed the case that way, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. Hang out with me for a moment and we'll get there. So anyway, here's the phone. Of course, I just slid it back in the sleeve just to show you what the unboxing experience would be like. And I just always, because I sometimes I sell my phones, or once I get enough phones or I'm not using enough of them, I want to start giving away phones, and I want to keep them in as good condition as I possibly can. But anyway, that's why I try to keep the sleeves and stuff like that intact when I'm unboxing. But anyway, here's the phone. Of course, that back screen, everybody is all the rave right now. Double tap, it wakes up, does some animations, and of course you can long press on that and you can change between. That's one I downloaded, it's just Garfield. There's no real animation to it. It moves a little bit, but the cat itself doesn't move like the others, the AI ones. So these are pretty cool. This back screen is beautiful, and I'll say some more about that in a little bit. Alright, so here's the front screen. Big brilliant screen. What is that? This screen comes in at what, 6.9? And I'm not going to go through all of the specs in this video. I just want to say that Xiaomi, as far as hardware, just dumping sheer hardware into this device. Let's get all this stuff out of the way, and let's zoom back in. Let's move everything over out of the way, and I'll clean all this up in a moment. Xiaomi was cooking when they put this bad boy out. Hold on, give me one moment. We'll be right back. So on the front, I was talking about the screen itself, and this is a 6.9-inch LTPO AMOLED display, and this thing is just a big, beautiful screen. Now, what I can do is, the brightness is a little bit over halfway up. Let's do this and turn off auto brightness. Oh, let me see, auto brightness, turn it off. I use so many phones that I think things are supposed to work a certain way on this phone and it doesn't. So anyway, look at that big bright screen, just really nice. So I mean, you'll get the typical thing with, you know, the screen has these ridiculous 3500 nits peak brightness. I mean, the thing is, you will not have any issues. Let me turn it down just a little bit so it shows up nicely on camera. I believe, I think about right there should be good. All right, so you won't have any. I promise you, you won't have any issues seeing the screen in the sun. You have 12-bit colors, HDR10 plus, Dolby Vision. I mean, they just packed this thing. I mean, it's beautiful. I do need to test, like I said, I'm still testing things on the phone. I do need to test out how Netflix looks on here, or if it even works. Because I don't remember from my Xiaomi 15 Ultra whether Netflix works on HyperOS or not, the Chinese version. But anyway, moving along. This is one of the first devices that has that 3 nanometer Snapdragon Elite Gen 5 mobile platform in it. And the thing is speedy. And I'll even go as far as to say that they've done, you know, they've done something with this. Because when I was downloading and installing Wuthering Waves, and you know, it has to do all the downloading, the patching, and so on and so forth. Typically, a phone would get really warm, but this one, you barely even noticed it when I was touching it with my hand. You did notice it a little bit more around the camera module itself. It got a little warm, but ever so slightly. This thing did not heat up at all. And I went on to play a little bit more. And the device didn't heat up much. I'm going to try to do a longer session of gaming. I've only done roughly about 30 minutes maybe. But I want to do a longer session of gaming to see how warm this thing gets. So anyway, I bought the, this is the 512 gig storage, I believe. Let me go into settings and go to my device. Yeah, I bought the, let's see. Yep. There we go. Let's get in there. Yep, the 512. So no, you have no. Most people are not storing everything on their phones. Oh wow, let me take that back. I don't store most things on directly on my phone. I take a lot of pictures and stuff. That stuff barely takes up any space. So, and I back them up to Google Photos. So yeah, no issues there. And then we can talk about, you know what, I probably won't get into customization and stuff like that in this video because I want to do a quick overview and I'm trying to get to something that I want to talk about in a little bit. What I'll say is the battery is a 7,500 milliamp hour battery, and I've seen a couple of videos where people be like, well, this only makes it last a little bit longer than iPhone, or maybe a few minutes here or there. Let me tell y'all something. This battery is ridiculous. I am an extremely heavy user. I charge this phone up. Let's go into battery so the phone itself can keep me honest. Let's see. I charged this thing up yesterday in the afternoon around a little bit after 12. And I used this phone heavily. And you can see I'm at 69%. I gotta say it, giggity. I'm at 69% today. That's crazy because I'm an extremely heavy user. You see, I had YouTube just playing constantly yesterday. That's 22% of my usage, screen on time. And then Instagram Reels and, you know, stuff like that. I use this phone heavily, and I'm at 69%. But that's half the picture. This thing has 100-watt charging. And let me tell you something. I put this phone on the charger at like 20 to 15%. I come back 20 minutes later. This thing is fully charged. 25 minutes later, it's fully charged. So people can say what they want, but Xiaomi was cooking with this. They were cooking. The fingerprint scanner is amazing. I mean, oh, that feels like ultrasonic. I'm not sure if it's ultrasonic or not. It should be, but that thing feels speedy. I mean, I gotta make sure I touch in the right spot when the screen is off. But this thing is speedy. Just tap it. Look at that. That's beautiful. So anyway, let's get to what people love talking about. What's all the hype about this phone, this back display? Now, while this display is big, beautiful, and I just love it, I feel like if you're outside of China, the usage is limited. And here's what I say. Here's what I mean. While the selfie camera, great. I mean, you got this large display where you frame your selfies like really nicely and use those big 50 megapixel cameras. Nice, very nice touch. But outside of that, you get great animations that take advantage of this big brilliant display, and I love them. But what you want on the back of the phone is notifications. And I'll tell you right now, if you're not using the native apps on this phone, you will not get notifications. I'm really, really hoping that Xiaomi or some third party developer or somebody changes that. But for now, you do not get notifications. The only thing I get a notification for is when I get a phone call, I can just answer it on the back, which is really cool, but I'm using a native phone app. So you gotta keep that in mind. Outside of that, this back screen has almost no use besides looking really cool outside of China. I want to leave with that, outside of China. Now, I do have the game case coming for this phone. It has not arrived yet. It should arrive sometime this week. But I did want to talk about that. The other piece of this is, even though you got this 50 megapixel setup, the cameras are, I'll say they are beautiful now. I'll say that they're consistent across the board. And like I said, once I do the full review, I have pictures and I'll show you. But I have a couple of pictures that I want to show you guys, which brings me to what I was mentioning earlier. When I pull Xiaomi's included case out of the box, I hope that's showing up nicely. Let me see if I can put it on a black background. I noticed that it kind of veers off towards the bottom, kind of curves off, like they kind of cut the bottom out. And I was like, why would you design your case like that? I would think that you would want to protect the entire camera. So what I realized, and it just kind of clicked for me, the camera, the ultra wide is right here sitting below the big screen up here in the other two cameras. And I said, oh no. If you buy a case, a third-party case that covers the entire camera, I can almost guarantee that when you go into ultra wide, you're gonna that case is gonna show up. The edge of that camera protection or the part of that case is gonna show up in that picture. And lo and behold, I have a couple of pictures. I'm gonna pop them up big on the screen so you guys can see it closely. But let's go up here, and here, let me see. I need to turn on auto rotate. But anyway, you'll see on the left side, here is one of my thinner cases that I bought for the phone. You'll see that it shows up in there. And this one actually has to cut out as well. So this one is clear, so it's not as noticeable. But here's the big chunker boy I bought, which I actually really like because it feels like it has soft touch. And I feel like it protects the phone really well. But here's what I noticed. You see how much that intrudes on your photo over on the left side? That blue there? Like I said, I'm going to pop it up on the screen so you guys can see. But that just blows my mind. So I think that Xiaomi is going to have to address that in their future generation. Now I'll mention that again in the big overview of the phone itself when I do the big review of it. But yeah, I noticed that and I was like, oh no, putting that down here was a mistake. If you don't have a case on here, or you have a case that looks very similar or is designed very similar to this, it won't intrude on your photos. But yeah, Xiaomi has to do something about that. I don't know if they need to move this ultra wide over to the center. I don't know how that looks. I'm not a designer by any means, but on the next generation, I hope that more YouTubers, much larger YouTubers than I am, they really draw attention to that, because people are going to notice it. Now, I'm not a big ultra wide guy, so this won't bother me as much, but I do want to, I think that needs attention for those ultra wide lovers that do those big scenery photos and stuff like that. landscape videos and stuff like that. So yep, just wanted to bring that to attention. So yep, the back screen, while it is beautiful, it has extremely limited use right now. Beside outside of selfies and just looking at your little 3D pets that, or wallpaper or whatever you put on the back of there, you can do custom wallpapers. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, Xiaomi, you were cooking with this, but we gotta address these flaws in the next generation. That is a slight shortcoming for ultra wide lovers out there and those who love to put cases on their phones. So anyway, that's just a quick unboxing, initial thoughts on the phone. Love it. I wish it had Android Auto, but you know, won't complain too much. Anyway, really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one. All right, later.